You are looking live at the famed Darlington Raceway, one of the oldest tracks on the NASCAR Winston Cup circuit, if not the oldest track on the NASCAR Winston Cup circuit. Has got itself some lights and will host its first ever Thursday night race this season. Very historic for Darlington as they have converted the spring race date to a Thursday night race. Obviously, this race has taken on a bit of a special meaning tonight as it has been named the Essential Workers 400 at Darlington Raceway. Qualifying just wrapped up a little while ago. As you obviously saw on the screen, Ricky Rudd has won the pole. With a pretty solid lap, arguably. As today we will honor those who have given their lives to keep this country moving during this coronavirus pandemic, keeping retail businesses and essential businesses stocked during this crisis. As we present to you Shinedown with their song from their with probably one of my favorite songs personally from the band, Shinedown, Simple Man, now available on Atlantic Records.
Maximum volume.
Well, Mama told me when I was young, said sit beside me, my only son, and listen closely to what I say. And if you do this, it'll help you some sunny day. Or take your time, don't live too fast. Troubles will come and they will pass. You'll find a woman and you'll find love. And don't forget that there is a someone up above. And be a simple kind of man. Be something you love and understand. Baby, be a simple kind of man. Oh, won't you do this for me, son, if you can? Get your lust from the rich man's gold. All that you need now is in your soul. And you can do this, oh baby, if you try. All that I want from you, my son, is to be satisfied and be a simple kind of man. Be something you love and understand. Baby, be a simple kind of man. Won't you do this for me, son, if you can? Don't you worry, you'll find yourself follow your heart and nothing else. And you can do this, oh baby, if you try. All that I want from you, my son, is to be satisfied and be a simple kind of man. Won't you do this for me, son, if you can? So baby, be a simple man. Oh, won't you do this for me, son, if you can?
That is the song Simple Man from their album Leave a Whisper, in stores now from Atlantic Records.
Powering off.
Let's go trackside for the opening ceremonies.
We're in Darlington to bring you another NASCAR Winston Cup Series event. The fans are ready, and so are we. Every driver who comes here has one goal in mind. Don't add any paint to the wall. What makes Darlington so tough?
Well, this is an egg-shaped track with different links and different bankings in the east and west turns. That makes it very tough for the drivers. But the question is, why is it egg-shaped? Well, when it was built, the landowner decided he didn't want his minnow farm disturbed, so they simply pinched in the corners of what is now turns 3 and 4 to give it the distinctive egg shape that it's now famous for.
The 64 car has been reckless lately, and other drivers are not happy with it.
Quite honestly, I think his driving has gotten a little out of control. It's one thing to be out there driving aggressively and fighting for position, but he's gone over the line as of late.
Sadler and Ricky Rudd changed rides after the 2002 season, with Sadler joining Robert Yates Racing.
That team is really excited about this year. With a new driver and sponsor, they want to make a good start right out of the box.
Jeff Green might not be a household name, but he's had a lot of success recently in stock cars.
But, there's no doubt. He won the Busch Series championship in 2000 by over 600 points, and he's finished runner-up in that series to a couple of talented guys with the names of Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Kevin Harvick.
Gentlemen, start your engine.
Here's the starting lineup. In the front row are the Motorcraft Ford and the Team Rusty Dodge. In the second row are the Sterling Marlin Dodge and the 20 car. The 64 car, this season's point leader, will be starting from the 5th place. In row 4 are the Lowe Chevrolet and the Dodge dealer's UAW Dodge. Rounding out the top 10 starting spots are the Stacker 2 Dodge and the Pfizer Ford. The 6th row has the DeWalt Power Tools Ford and the Citgo Ford. In row 7 are the DuPont Chevrolet and the O2 car. Starting the race from row 8 are the Valvoline Pontiac and the Dale Jr. Chevrolet. And in row 9 are the Tide Pontiac and the Singular Wireless Chevrolet. Starting in row 10 will be the UAW Delphi Chevrolet and the GM Goodrich Chevrolet. In row 11 are the Caterpillar Dodge and the U.S. Army Pontiac. In row 12 are the M&M's Ford and the Rubbermaid Sharpie Ford. Row Row 13 finds a Dodge dealer's UAW Dodge and the Cheerios Dodge. The 14th row has the Alltel Dodge and the Haviland Dodge. In row 15 are the Interstate Battery Chevrolet and the BAM Racing Dodge. Starting the race from row 16 are the 57 car and the UPS Ford. Row 17 has the America Online Chevrolet and the Target Dodge. Starting in row 18 will be the 27 car and the Kellogg Chevrolet. In row 19 are the Georgia Pacific Dodge and the Autobahn Ford. In row 20 are the Pennzoil Chevrolet and the Witters Ford. Back in row 21, we have the Granger Ford and the Kodak Maxville Pontiac. And rounding out the field is the Net Zero Pontiac.
Two more things before we begin and point out some major storylines tonight. Obviously, a move that was put on by the track and announced earlier this week that this race will feature a silent 8-lap tribute to those who have unfortunately passed away due to the coronavirus pandemic. And obviously, a great qualifying run by Ricky Rudd, and last week's winner, Rusty Wallace, will flank him to his outside. Great qualifying run for Hermie Sadler in the 02, and even better qualifying run for Kenny Wallace in the 23. 73 laps on tap tonight at Darlington. We are racing. I think Dylan might have spun his tires there. Really bunched the field up on that initial start. Ricky Rudd gets the jump off 2. He is the early leader. Ricky Rudd is your early leader, followed by Marlon second, Rusty Wallace third, Tony Stewart fourth, and Dylan Murray rounding out the top 5. So, Rusty Wallace, the Talladega winner, looking for more on Sterling Marlin. So far, it's the old dogs up front with the young guns looking to fight their way to the top. Tony Stewart had a very scary crash in the spring race back in 2002, which unfortunately put him in a hospital and forced him to require a relief driver for Bristol. See him making his way up to the 4th position. So Murray will get by Stewart, Rusty Wallace, and set his sights on Ricky Rudd. Remember, Dylan Murray got into Ricky Rudd late when the entire top 10 essentially ran out of fuel on the last lap. Which, if in a way, Dylan's kind of questionable pit call really worked in his favor because they knew with those small fuel cells there were going to be at least 1 or 2 cars that run out of fuel. But keep in mind, we have 2 more restrictor plate races. We got the Pepsi 400 to end the regular season, and we got the EA Sports 500 in the playoffs to end the round of 12. With the smaller fuel cells and everything that's at stake, oh man. That's all I'm going to say there. Ricky Rudd and Dylan Murray have broken out to an early lead. Obviously, there have been reports several drivers have talked to Dylan Murray due to his concerns of racing and drivers threatening to go after him in the garage. Obviously, the biggest accident being Jeff Green getting into a dust-up with Dylan Murray post-race at Martinsville a few weeks ago. And it's probably the only major incident that the rivalry that is seemingly developed between Dylan Murway in the 64 and Greg Biffle in the 16 car.
28-39. You're closing on the leader.
So, last opportunity for a driver to win and punch his ticket to the All-Star race, which will be a week from Monday. Believe it or not, with that and the Coke 600 coming up. That ought to make for some entertaining couple weeks there in Charlotte for the All-Star race, plus the Coke 600 on Saturday night. Dylan Murway and Ricky Rudd still side by side for the race lead. Dylan has taken the top spot for Ricky Rudd and looks to run away and hide. Dylan led his first lap of the day. First time tonight. Coming through turn 4 now, Dylan Murway will pull away. Here in the Essential Workers 400 from Darlington Raceway. When the coronavirus pandemic hit stateside last March, unfortunately, all of our lives have been altered pretty heavily in some ways, with many people unfortunately passing away. As we come out of turn 4, we begin a silent 8-lap tribute, which begins right now. Unfortunately, that tribute has been interrupted tonight by the first caution of the evening as Dylan Murray is spun coming off of turn 4. Somehow nobody else hit him. But unfortunately, big mistake on pit road may have just cost Dylan Murray a lot of track time. Somehow he gets a good run coming off of turn 2. The 5-lap tribute, unfortunately, was interrupted by this, as Dylan Murray got loose coming off turn 4 and spun out, and almost does the same here. Tony Stewart gets into him. Dylan luckily saves it, but look at all the positions he just lost. All the way from 2nd to 34th. That car is tight. You can tell. You can tell because of how tight he got. And Tony was there. Dylan came loose, got loose, tried to save it, but unfortunately landed in front of Smoke, which didn't help. But Dylan came down, and somehow that was as small as it was. It was only just 2 cars sliding to the bottom, and luckily Kevin Harvick was able to let him in and by checking up. Otherwise, that would have been a much bigger wreck than it needed to be. There it is, another caution for Dylan Murray. As Dylan got loose after bouncing off the side of Elliott Sadler. That brings out the first caution of the night, or second yellow, I'm sorry. One car did retire from the race, unfortunately. Can you free that car up? Unfortunately, it was a
We're starting in the back, so be careful and stay
single drive down pit road. Green flag back into the air. By the way, Dale Jarrett has retired from this race. Unclear if it was an accident or a blown motor. We'll get onto that shortly. It was luckily just a single car spin and nothing bigger than it was. And, the incident with the 2 yellows that had happened tonight, it was only just single car slides. And see if Dylan Murray can make his way from the back to the front. Dylan Murray in a very tight squeeze there between Brett Bodine and what looked like the 49 of Ken Schrader. As Dylan Murray gets by both of them without a hitch. There's 3 more rivals up ahead. That could things could get interesting. Dylan Murray almost got taken out by Terry Labonte there on the front stretch. Luckily, things have settled down. Oh, there it is. Oh! Dylan Miller just ran Hurley Sadler into the wall. Doesn't look like it was any major incident. And it looked like we almost had our third incident of the night. Because the driver's hitting the wall. That car is wrecking. I didn't think it was possible to have a car be wrecking tight, but we're having it. I didn't see any smoke come out of Jarrett, unfortunately. But Dale Jarrett is the only other car out of the race. He could have been caught in that first incident. This one, and I have no idea. Norway is currently closing in. And he's got a very hot under the collar Elliott Sadler, who's still upset after Martinsville. Arguably, he's still pretty upset after Martinsville. And it looks like Sadler and Kurt Busch get together. Looks like no caution has come out of that. Only had 2 so far tonight. Dylan Murray has made his way from 42nd up to 22nd in about 8 laps. Murray trying to charge in on Robbie Gordon. It's by Robbie. And it's by Mayfield to get into the top 20. Tony Stewart, to think he went from second to almost outside the top 20 in just one small exchange. And to think Dylan Murray is just ripping through the field like it's the Capitol Defense on January 6th. That's kind of a tacky joke. I know. But to be fair, it wasn't as tacky as me saying the current rookie class is a fetish for being choked and submitting themselves. Now, that kind of thing. Murray tucks in, but whoa, boy. That could have been bad. A little contact with Harvick. Murray will get by him. And continue to fly by the field. Almost like they're not even moving. By the way, Matt Kenseth is currently your early leader in the Essential Workers 400 here at Darlington. Great, solid run so far by the 25 of Nemechek. Running inside the top 15. As Dylan Murray is basically chewing through this field like it's nothing. Arguably, some of the more shocking developments in this first third of the season. What happened to Jeff Gordon? You know, him and Jimmy Johnson have been probably the most consistent drivers this season without a win, which is very surprising because I fear they'd have won at least 1 or 2. I mean, if Dylan wasn't as dominant as he was at Atlanta, Gordon probably would have had that one. And he had a pretty good shot at Richmond a couple weeks ago in that race. And he had also had a shot at Talladega. There was somebody checked up. I think it might have been Johnny Benson and Jeff Gordon. They've been going at it pretty hard. And Benson peels off pit road. So this will still leave Kenseth out front, with Jeff Burton and Jeff Gordon fighting for fifth.
You got some passes left in there somewhere. I know you do. You usually see him luck here. I guess you guys are friendly out there. Number 24.
Norway takes both the Jeffs 3 wide to get into the top 5.
The 24 car is looking to pass. Clear.
Lot of aggressive racing, and how about how fast Dylan Murray is right now? He's restarted this race back in 42nd, and he's probably a few laps away from taking the lead. Murray will let off here and probably tuck in behind Jeff Gordon. No, he will tuck in behind Jeff Gordon. A little under 30 laps to go at this point. Got cars coming out of pit lane to make for an interesting couple of laps for the leaders. Norway going to try to battle with Jeff for fifth. Jeff Gordon gets by him without further incident. Matt Kenseth is taking on the leader in the middle stages of the Essential Workers 400 here at Darlington, with Marlin, Rudd, Murway, and Johnson the top 5. It looks like that may have just brought out the third yellow of the night. Debris as Dylan Murway. Can he get to Kenseth? A little bit of contact with Kenseth as Dylan will come off turn number 4. And it looks like he will take the caution flag in the lead. How about how fast Dylan Murray's been tonight? 2 spins, having to pit for damage repair. Probably going to do it again here. To be honest with you, at least I would. So everybody else came out of pit road. Dylan Murray seems like he's on a different pit cycle. Green flag is back into the air. Dylan Murray got a terrible start. Lets Rusty Wallace go as we head back down towards turn 1. Rusty Wallace is your leader. Bill Elliott and Johnny, well, he's the lead car, but he is not the race leader. Dylan Murray is your current leader at this point in the race, with Matt Kenseth, Sterling Marlin, Ricky Rudd, and Jimmy Johnson the top 5. How about a Thursday night crank it up? Matt Kenseth takes the lead after Dylan Murray slams the wall off at turn 4. It's a wonder how his car hasn't spontaneously combusted at this point. as Dylan Norway is trying to maybe stretch the field, hopefully get another yellow, maybe a quick splash to end this race. It makes some crazy interesting drama here. Kenseth is the leader. Bill Elliott is a lap down. Dylan Norway is second. He's got 1.5 gallons of fuel left. And it looks like Dylan's going to have to pit, otherwise he's out of fuel. Can he make the charge and close that gap to Kenseth? Because Dylan's been the only driver that has taken it to Kenseth today, or tonight. And here comes Dylan Norway trying to get the lead. Barely has it at the line. Kenseth takes it by probably an inch going into turn one. Can he make it? 0.5 gallon left. Dylan can't quite make that fuel last. He's going to peel off pit road and unfortunately have to give up the lead. And unfortunately, that might have put Dylan out of contention for this one, for the winner of this race. Coming out in 42nd place, as Matt Kenseth is the leader and almost 2 seconds ahead of Sterling Marlin at this point. As we look at the rest of the field, there's a lot of cars a lap down. Basically anybody from Rusty Wallace, who's currently the only last car on the lead lap. Bill Elliott is the first one lap down. Dale Jarrett is the only car out of the race at lap 18 with a blown motor. Not really the best night for Dylan Norway fans. If you were looking for another win from him, or at least he's already got a few in the bag this season. Dylan Norway scored 2 down, so he needs a caution bad. He's basically out of contention at this point. Unless he hopes for a big wreck here. Led a few laps tonight. Unfortunately, things really fell apart for him. For Dylan. As we have reached the 14 lap to go mark in tonight's race. And honestly, seems kind of unfortunate that this race went as haywire as it did. So we're 12 laps to go at this point. And unless we get a caution where a ton of cars start running out of fuel, like last week at Talladega, Dylan Murway is probably going to get credited with a 42nd place run tonight. Which, good thing we have that break and we're heading to the All-Star race on probably a week from Monday night, beginning at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. As Dylan Murway is the only car scored 2 laps down right now. The cars in front of him are not. Oh, wait, they are. Wow. Jerry Nadeau has fallen out of the race. Wow. All right. Jerry Nadeau's fallen out of the race. Probably with a blown motor. Kind of a depressing way to start this one, to end this race. With a very dominating performance by Matt Kenseth tonight. He had that shocking win last week at a couple weeks ago at Bristol, when we had that late yellow and that really flipped everything on its head. We're having a different situation here. Matt Kenseth has had a clinic on this field. As Dylan Murway has made up some points here, he's up to the 35th position with 8 laps to go. Keep in mind, if we do have a yellow, we are going to have to be careful about the red flag lap. As Dylan Murway gets by Mayfield, we'll put him to the 32nd position. Jeff Green and Elliott Sadler battling up ahead with Bobby Labonte in 29th. Seemed a little fitting after Labonte ran most of the race, led most of last week at Talladega. Very different night compared to what he had. Same with Nemechek as well. And a difficult night for that team. Obviously, Nemechek was not happy after the last lap incident at Talladega with Sadler, as Dylan Murway uses Sadler as a bank board to pass him and Bobby Labonte. By the way, Nemechek is not for position. McMurray is not for position. Michael Waltrip is also not for position, unfortunately. Murway rubs his way past Ward Burton, passes Harvick, passes Junior. The next car ahead of him is Dylan that is for position is the 10 of Johnny Benson. And while those two start going for their little tit for tat up ahead, we've reached 4 laps to go here in the Darlington Raceway for the Essential Workers 400. Matt Kenseth has all but checked his bags into Charlotte next week for All-Star Week, essentially. Stewart and Newman are for position. Here with 3 to go. Again, the top 5. Matt Kenseth, Sterling Marlin, Jimmy Johnson, Ricky Rudd, and Jeff Gordon will round out your top 5. Bill Elliott is a lap down as we would be on the final lap of the Essential Workers 400 here at the Darlington Raceways. Matt Kenseth has put on a statement win as he makes his way down the backstretch for the final time tonight. Dylan Murway making up all he can. Unfortunately, he'll be credited with a 23rd fifth place run tonight as Matt Kenseth will win the Essential Workers 400.
28-32. Could have been better.
Unfortunate end to Dylan Murway's
64 car didn't
race.
do anything to improve his standing with the other drivers out there.
That certainly looks that way. I'm not sure who started everything, but it should be fun to watch over the next couple of races to see what develops.
Well, it's been a great night of racing. We thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week at Lowe's.
So, tough break for Dylan Murway tonight as Matt Kenseth has earned his second win of the year as we go to All-Star Week, beginning 1 week from next Monday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern and ending Saturday at 8 with the Coca-Cola 600. Matt Kenseth wins tonight at Darlington. Sterling Marlin finishes second. Jimmy Johnson finishes third. Ricky Rudd finishes fourth. Jeff Gordon finishes fifth. Jeff Burton finishes sixth. Mark Martin finishes seventh. Dale Earnhardt Jr. finishes eighth. Kurt Busch finishes ninth. And Ricky Craven will round out the top 10. So we look to the rest of the field. Solid run from McMurray tonight. Elliott Sadler, same with him. Hermie Sadler, Terry Labonte, Greg Biffle with great runs tonight. Mike Skinner, Kevin LePage, Jack Sprague passing literally half the field and ending up 22nd. And Chase Montgomery ending up as the last driver on the lead lap. So a recap for tonight's race. Matt Kenseth earns $145,000, 3 caution flags for 9 laps, 8 lead changes among 3 drivers. Matt Kenseth obviously led the most laps. Timer race, 48 minutes, average speed, 122 miles an hour. The margin of victory is a very commanding 4 seconds. So, obviously, the next points race will be the Coca-Cola 600 at Lowe's Motor Speedway. We'll see how the point standings really shook out there. Jimmy Johnson spent some time at a very fast car, finished much higher than Dylan Murway did. So, we'll take a look at the points. Jimmy Johnson is 124 points back somehow. Must be all the laps Dylan led tonight. Quite a few rivals to watch in the coming weeks for Dylan Murway. Ricky Rudd won the pole. Matt Kenseth led the most laps. Greg Biffle passed the most cars. Dylan Murway had the quickest lap. Jamie McMurray was the best rookie and made the best pass. Jamie McMurray finally cracks 4 digits in the Rookie of the Year points. We've had 6 drivers earn poles this season. Murway and Jr. have the most with 5 and 2. Chevrolet still has a pretty solid lead over Ford, 8 points. And Dylan Murway has led 480 laps this season, and nobody has come remotely close to him. It's kind of odd that we haven't had anything from Bobby Labonte, Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, Ryan Newman, Dale Jarrett in terms of wins this season. In fact, let's look at the drivers who are confirmed in the playoffs. Kurt Busch, Dylan Murway with his 3 wins, Mark Martin, Ward Burton, Matt Kenseth, Tony Stewart, Dale Jr., Rusty Wallace, and Matt Kenseth with his 2 victories this season. The next points race will be at the Coca-Cola 600 at Lowe's Motor Speedway 1 week from this Saturday. So, again, recap for the schedule. 1 week from Monday will be the All-Star race, and 1 week from this coming Saturday will be the Coca-Cola 600. Have a good night.